All right. Okay, so it's kind of fun. I'm trying to figure out how to integrate all the scripture and everything, or what I'm doing. I want to talk about ways of working on yourself, and I want to bring in the fellowship piece because this is some of the things that I've done that have been very beneficial. This is some of the things that I think are lacking. This is one of the things we talk about, getting your community, getting your group. So the two verses that I think fit what I want to talk about are 1 John 1:3. We proclaim to you what we have seen and heard, so you also may have fellowship with us, and our fellowship is with the Father and with His Son, Jesus Christ. So basically, it's getting together and having discussions and whatnot with a directed higher meaning, and something that's trying to not be about yourself, but about something higher. And this kind of goes to one of my favorites, which is I feel like all the scripture that I know and I really like is kind of trite. But Proverbs 27:17 is iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another. The reason I want to bring these two together, when things are terrible in the world, oftentimes we look out and we think, oh my gosh, the world is terrible. And we have one of two thoughts: either how do I change the world, or man, the world's too big, I can't change it. And however we look at that one, the big thing is that we can always change ourselves. And if we work on ourselves enough, what will end up happening is that we become the examples for the small group, and then the small group gets better, and as the small group gets better, the community gets better. As the community gets better, it starts kind of radiating out. And so the big thing about it is that when we talk about one man, iron sharpening iron and one man sharpening another, one of the things that you have to understand is that if you've ever tried to sharpen iron with a file or with another piece of iron, what happens when you're sharpening the thing is that one piece of that metal is literally ripping off and tearing off parts and pieces of the thing you're sharpening that are not beneficial to the goal. The goal is to make a finer edge, to bring it together, to make it sharper, and the things that are in the way get ripped off. And that's kind of the big piece. If we're trying to, if you get together with a small group of people, and I highly recommend that you form a group of people that you respect and you admire, and that they live in a manner that you wish that you could emulate. The example they set for themselves in private and in public is something that you admire, something that you would like to, again, emulate. Those would be the people that you should start forming fellowships with, small groups with. This is one of the things that I think that the church has just nailed. Small groups is a phenomenal way to move society forward. But you have to understand, the thing I think is most important is that we don't fix society because you have no control over society. You have no control over anyone else outside of yourself. You only have true control over you, because you can fix the things that are problematic in you, because you're always with you, and if you were lying, and you can hold yourself accountable. It is easier to hold yourself accountable when you have somebody to help you see the blind spots. This is one of the things I think is fantastic when you do any type of psychological coaching or mentorship or whatever. It's hard because you can't tell somebody, here's your problem. Very often you have to talk to them, and you have to allow them to see their own issues, because until they see it, it's a blind spot. And so until they see it, they can't do anything about it. And it's funny because you'll talk to people and it's glaringly obvious what their issue is from the start. They don't see it. So helping them to find these things and then helping them to make the correction is really, really important. But again, you have to make sure that these are people who have the right focus. So the reason I like the first one, the 1 John, about how, hey, we're all going to get together and talk about what we've seen and what we've heard and what our lives are like. And we're going to tell you how to move in the right direction. But we're going to tell you how to move in the right direction according to what is best for Christ and what's best for God. And so another way of saying that is we're going to ensure that the choices we make are the most ecological possible. Now, ecology is a very interesting concept. It is I'm going to do the things that are the very best for me. I'm going to do these things that are the very best for, the person, the small people around me, like your wife, your husband, your spouse, your kids. And then I'm going to do those decisions that are best for the small community around me, my state, my government, the world, right? That's how ecological function works. And if these decisions are the best for everybody all the way through, then it's a great way to move. And that's the ecological function. And that would be the representation of bringing God in, because the idea is that if God is on board with the decision, then it is best for everybody. I would caution you to reevaluate over and over and make sure that if your decisions, somehow you believe that God is telling you that someone else needs to be hurt or murdered or anything like that, I would highly recommend that you rethink that over and over and over again, because that is most likely that most likely needs to be rethought and replanned. But if you decide that you need to get rid of the old you, then yeah, that'd be fantastic. Because oftentimes what happens, it was funny, I met with an old friend yesterday, TJ McLeod, and it was funny. We don't agree on everything, but I respect the hell out of him. Great guy. I've known him since I was in 5th or 6th grade. The type of guy who like takes his family and moves to Nicaragua so that he can help open up medical clinics and help people get care for $7. As someone who works in healthcare, I'm like, you can't call me for $7. So to be able to provide care for $7 is amazing. So great human being, fantastic guy. But that's the type of thing that you need to make sure of, is that when you're creating your group, does everybody think exactly like you? Can you be held accountable for things? Because at the end of the day, you're going to have blind spots that you're not going to see. And it takes somebody who thinks a little bit differently than you to see those blind spots and go, hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing you should look at. And here's the thing you should work on. And TJ and I were talking about how the person that we were, he was talking about, he was just like, everybody knew you as the football player in high school. And he was like, and I don't think anybody knows you as the football player now. He's like, because you've changed. That part of you is gone and this part of you is new. And it was funny because I was like, because I've seen those separations of myself before. And I'm like, yeah, because I still was like, well, back when I was drinking, and because it's not like I have any moral qualms with other people drinking. It's like I still give people tequila whenever I go to parties. But it was just a different part of my life that doesn't serve me anymore, and I've kind of gone to do other things. But that's the type of thing. So you need to find the things that are in you, and you need to have this community around you that kind of helps you when you are ready. Find the things that you need to work on, and then have them help you move into the positions where you can start to affect change in those areas. And this is going to be a smaller group. This isn't going to be just random people. This has to be people that you respect and you honor, and you feel worthy of making change with and for. So, with what we've seen with Charlie's assassination, I think that a lot of us have started it was a great wake up call of, am I living my life to the point where I should? Like, am I going to be more proud of myself tomorrow than I am today? Have I moved in the direction I'm supposed to move? And am I becoming the person that I need to be? And that is, I think, one of those things that we should start to look for is, how can we make ourselves better for the community around us? What can we do in and of ourselves to make changes within ourselves to better everybody around us? That would be the big push that I think that we should start kind of coming together and looking for is, if you're like, man, I really respected Charlie for these qualities, fantastic. List out whatever the qualities are. Like he was really well educated, or he was very kind, or he was very patient, or whichever the things that you find that you liked about him or anybody else, doesn't have to be Charlie. And then try to figure out, how am I going to implement those things in my life? Like if I see in someone else I see dedication in this person. I see, fulfillment and whatever. I see, love in this person. How is it that you would then emulate that in your life? How would you become more loving, more kind, more peaceful? And put that together, and go to your group and say, hey, I've decided that my world would benefit from me being more peaceful or more kind. And then sit down and say, here's the definition of what I mean by that. And here's some examples of how I believe that would fit into what I think I need to change my personality, my person too. And then ask your group, help me be accountable to these things. Help me, find ways I do these things. And when I do these things well, specifically, if you've noticed that I did something out of normal character that was more in line with being these things, peaceful, kind, whatever, make sure you tell me that you saw it and I did a good job. Make sure that somebody's giving you that positive reinforcement. And then when you step outside the bounds, you need to make sure that these people hold you accountable and say, hey, when I am not these things, make sure I know, tell me. And then I would make sure that you talk to these people and if these aren't great close friends of yours, and even if they are, it's great practice, and here is how I would prefer to be reprimanded. Here's how I'd like for you to point out that I am not doing the things that I asked you to help me set forth. This is probably the best way to do this. I've worked with people on this a lot. I've helped coach people on this. And this works really, really well. Now, here's the most crucial piece to all of these things. When your friends ask you to help them be better at a thing, then call them out on their stuff and praise them. Again, big important part, praise them. You got to have carrot and stick here, right? If someone does something good and you never praise them, but you've always condemned them when they do something bad, it's really not beneficial to producing the change we want. This is with kids, as adults, it's how we're programmed. You got to give the dopamine, and then you got to give the negativity. You're gonna be like, hey, I saw you did this the other day. Not something I think that you would have normally done. Really good job moving towards being whatever it is you're trying to do. And then later, if you do something that is contrary to the desired goal, you want your friends, you want those people that you have enlisted in this option to be like, hey, remember how you told me you were trying to be nicer? You're like, yeah. You recognize that this thing here probably is not pushing you towards that goal. Had you done it this way, it might be a little bit easier, might be taken a little bit better. The person that I have that helps me with that more than anybody is my wife. Because I will be like, I'll tell everybody, this happened. It's like, so I think I'm going to say this. And she'll be like, okay, you could do that. Or you could say it this way. And I'm always like, oh, that's much better. That is much less poke people in the eye. So you can enlist your spouse. Just make sure that you guys have the conversation of how you like to be reprimanded and how you like to be praised, because these are very, very important. And if you're working with somebody on this, focus on those two things. This is just like the love languages thing, right? If you're like, oh, I don't know how, patting him on the head, physically patting him on the head is going to be, make him do these things more. It doesn't matter if you, if you don't understand it, it doesn't really matter. If you're like, this wouldn't motivate me, that doesn't matter. If it motivates the other person in a positive manner, or it pushes them away from something from a negative manner, that's how they need to be motivated. And maybe some of you guys need to kind of figure out how it is that you are motivated. A lot of people don't even know. So that might be the first of us figuring out, what is your carrot and what is your stick, and how are you best communicated with and motivated. But this would be the big thing. I think a lot of people are wanting to be better. People are talking about, I'm going to start reading my Bible, and that's phenomenal. And people are like, I'm going to go to church, and that's phenomenal. Or, I'm going to go do these things. I'm going to go help out. I'm going to do these things. Great, phenomenal. If you're trying to be a better person, that is amazing. If you're trying to work on yourself, again, amazing. But I'll tell you the things that have helped me the most is the group of people that I have been able to associate with, the guys that I've been able to go to and been like, hey, what's going on with X, Y, Z? And it's funny, whenever I talk to Nathan Rossi or Christy Miller and Christina and, my guys from Reforge and stuff like that, it's funny because like I'll say something to Nathan or Christy, and they'll be like, "Okay, all right," and they're like, "Well," and they're like, "Well," and I don't know to do that. And they're like, "That's great. But if you did know, what would you say?" And it's become this thing where we all kind of laugh now because it's part of the NLP practitioner and master practitioner training we went through. But it's fantastic, and I know that I'm becoming a better person, and I know I'm getting closer to my goals because of the group that I have that helps to shape and move me. And I hate to tell you this, but your great group is shaping you and moving you regardless of how you set it up. They always tell you, if you're in a group with 5 millionaires, you'll be the sixth. If you're hanging out with 5 alcoholics, you'll be the sixth. Your group is going to program you to be like them. Your group is going to program you to do things. If you recognize that you're going to be programmed, you can then choose the group of people you hang out with so that you're programmed in a manner that is beneficial to you and to your world and to your life. So I would highly recommend that you evaluate who you want to be, evaluate, the characteristics and the values that you wish to uphold, find your friends that uphold those values. And if you can't find any, go meet new people, and then hang out with those people so that the values and the qualities that you admire and that you would like to see more of in yourself, you can acquire from the people that you're in fellowship with, the people that you're surrounded with. So that would be the big thing. So like the whole, we're going to share what we've seen and heard and done. If you hang out with the guys who have seen and heard and done great things that are all pointed in the same direction, in this case, towards Christ, then the chances that you are also going to end up being pointed in that same direction are very high. So that would be the thing I would say if you're looking for fellowship, if you're looking for a group, if you're looking to change your life, the best thing to do is to take personal responsibility and then find a group of people who are moving in the direction that you think you need to go to change your life and hang out with them and have them help you change your life in the manner that they reflect in the example. So that would be the thing I would tell you on fellowship. I think that is something that we need more than anything right now. And this is the thing, like we've lost our groups of men, we've lost our groups of women. If we can get these groups rebuilt and pointed in the right direction, I think we can all make changes within ourselves that will benefit the society around us. So if you guys have any questions, hit us up, questions@chalmerswellness.com. You guys can send us DMs. But that is, that's one of the things that we try to, foster and grow here. So you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for your